Hi, today I'll show you how to fix your art mesh if your hair art mesh is kind of freaking out on a thinner strand of hair. So you can see right here that the mesh is clipping, like all of the little square polygon pieces are kind of warping together. And that's because my original art mesh is done improperly. You can see even when I pull on the dots, it clips in. So to fix this, I dragged in a new version of my PSD file for my model, and then I replaced that art mesh. I really didn't need to do that, but I had already screwed the other art mesh so badly and I wanted to start from a fresh slate. And so you're going to go over to this specific tool in the custom art mesh creator and just drag a line down the thin strand of hair. And from here you can press and hold control and click and drag. And that way you can change all of the spacing points along the hair strand from the new like triple art mesh that you made. I think on the left you can also change in the panel how thick and detailed the art mesh itself is on this line that you just drew, and then you can reposition each point as needed and drag it longer as I just did. And then I actually erased this top part so that none of the points would clip together and connected together, and then auto-filled it. And so from there I went to the deform path edit tool, and then I created a strand all along the strand that I just had, and as you can see you can kind of wiggle it around, and I didn't really feel like I was satisfied still with the fidelity, like how HD it was as you dragged it around. You can see I played with the deform brush tool, and kind of to fix this there is a pen tool in the art mesh editor that will let you click and drag and add a bunch of vertices within the actual kind of polygon lining itself, like the art mesh lining itself that you already made. And from here I was still a little bit dissatisfied. It was kind of still bending and becoming a little bit too crunchy too quickly when I needed the strand of hair to be like extremely bouncy, as you can see on the finished model. This is me still playing with how poor I thought it looked. And then you can actually go and click 4 division, and that will make an extremely HD strand. I would not recommend doing this for majority of your art mesh pieces because this will actually break your model or crash your iPhone if you're using that for tracking. Be way too HD, but on 1 or 2 strand pieces or maybe like an earring or so, that won't really hurt anything. It would actually just help you have more bouncy and fluid movement. And then going through here, I had already put on my warp deformers for all of my hair in the XY positions, and so I have to go back and fix every single vertices in each direction, which is really annoying, and so I sped that up because it's not an interesting fix. But going through here, you can use the deform path tool and you can put it on the shadow, whatever shadow you're doing as well, kind of copy the same exact form of doing the art meshes and the deform path tool, make them match up together, because for me it was important for them to kind of fly around the same way as one another. And then yeah, just really wiggling it around from there and just fixing it and trying to make sure that there's no more like weird crops and stuff. Don't be afraid to still use the deform path tool to go in and fix the vertices that you already kind of edited, like the HD ones, because now you actually have a lot more space and range to kind of adjust each point itself per angle. Since it's so high fidelity, it won't really like clip. And here's me testing it in the physics parameters. I don't love how it like looked like I was swimming underneath water, like I was swimming through water. And the springiness was really strange when it was like waving back and forth. It suddenly became like a scrunched curl, and that wasn't really like the ideal vibe that I was kind of going for with how the hair would move. I'll kind of move my model now so you can see what I ended up kind of resulting in. It's a lot more toned down, a lot more tame, but mostly because I figured doing fast movements and also VTube Studio adds an extra layer of smoothing. I didn't really want something to be kind of glitching around and being a little bit weird. So yeah, you can see how it's springing and scrunching right there. Not the most ideal. Once again, I look like I'm underneath water, but this one's like a little bit more like time-lapsey water. I don't love how it looks. So you can see me playing with all the parameters right there. Usually playing with scale and then duration helps the most. Your pendulum right there correlates to how the physics parameters are moving, and your physics parameters really should be based off of 1 to 3 X movements and 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 Y movements. And they need to follow the same principles of basic animation. like squishing and stretching each item, which is why you get that like nice kind of springy look. But being able to change the timing of it is what's going to stop it from looking like it's underwater. However, in VTube Studio, the smoothing of the XY movements is kind of important. So no matter what, your physics are going to be a little bit different than how you set them in Live 2D itself, if that's what you're using. So this is one of my final crop-ins of how it kind of looks now. This is going through my own, I think, VTube model that I uploaded into VTube Studio. She does the job, and I was happy I was able to fix it with my limited knowledge, as this is the first model that I've ever made completely from scratch, and all the art was from scratch too. So I hope this kind of helped. This is a super quick crash course on how to fix some messed up vertices for really small hair strands and how to animate it a little bit better. If you do need a physics tutorial, I highly recommend going to merely.woofei. They're actually how I learned how to rig my entire model, and I learned all of my physics tricks from their physics video. And it's taken a lot of tweaking in order to get it right. So, you know, sometimes it might take a couple hours, but it'll be worth it. And then it won't feel as worth it because VTube Studio will smooth it out. So, anyways, happy rigging. Bye.